the next little bit of building for the Little Miller's Garden. So hopefully those of you who enjoy watching things being put together, doing it as live so I don't have to save like extra video space or whatever on my phone and whatnot. So hope you're ready for the next section here. So it's going to be a little tricky. I got to switch out the phone direction and whatnot. So you're going to stare at the ceiling for a moment. Shish. And then I got to adjust the arrangement here so you can see better. So give me a sec and we'll get it. We'll get it for you. All right. So of course, this is my little table. As you can see, our next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on this little bench and this little table. So it's actually a chair on a table, but so we want to make sure that we keep that in mind when we're building it. Now, if anybody has done jewelry before, you know that it can be tricky for pieces to match exactly. So you do your best to try and make a match. The more jewelry that you've done, though, the easier it is for you to be able to do the different parts. So I am going to try and zoom this in a bit so that way you can follow along. All right, so as you can see, we've got our little chair. Here's what we're going to do next. So we need to retrieve these pieces from bag number 2 for these ones and bag number 3 for these. And they're all white pieces, so it makes it a little easier to retrieve them. So here we've got one piece. You can guess what bag I'm in. Ooh, what bag am I in? Tell me what bag am I in, but you can figure it out. And that piece from there. And then the other little piece. I dig through my pieces to pull them all out. So I'm not sure what's that one. Flip over my bag here quick. That way I can look and see. Because there's 2 little pieces in here, 2 little white pieces. So which piece do you think it is? Do you think it's this one or that one? Well, considering the length that is on these, I'm going to say that it's actually probably this piece here. So that's going to be our piece for that. And now I gotta grab the other bag. I just got more white pieces in it. I don't know if you see my little white pieces. So we're gonna grab all the parts that we need for that. And the other bag. So that is actually going to be your side pieces. Which are going to be these little guys. And those pretty little arm pieces that sit on top. Look at those. Kind of cool, huh? Okay. So we set them down. I'm going to set just up a little bit so you guys can see a little easier. Right. Set the 2 bags aside. All right, now we'll put this together. So now, as you can see from the instructions, the first thing that we're going to put together is going to be the seat itself. Now, part of the making this is going to be, that makes it a little tricky, is that you need to make sure that when you're putting in the pieces together, that they don't wibble wobble. Excuse me. So now you look at it again, see, okay, where's it's flush, stays flush across the back, and these are insets. So we're going to do underside and then the corner to fit into the other piece. Take a little bit for the flow to come, and yes, I did remove the stickies from this earlier. So we are going to do a little line across the top here and then the corner. Little line across the top and the corner. Now I'm like super tired, so I might make some mistakes as I'm trying to work on this. I'm not sure why I'm tired, but I'm like falling asleep. So I figured I'd do a little bit of building, and then I might have to take a nap before I work. Because I am like I said, I have no idea what's going on, but get that tucked in there. Even though I can't see the underside here, I can see that it has a little bit of an overlap. So that's what this is right here. It's going to have a little bit of an overlap. make sure it's square. You can see it. And as you can see, I don't have that square, so I'm going to fix that a little bit. There. Okay. And I'm going to set this like this. Next piece that we are going to put on is going to be that back, as you can see from the instructions. So this is our next piece that we're going to assemble. As you can tell from the picture, the little holes go up. So that is going to sit inside those other pieces. So we're going to put glue here and glue here, glue on these 2 points, and then we're going to put it in the back. So that way our bench works. Like I said, these set up pretty quick, so when I do them, they work pretty quick. So glue on the end. Okay, get it flowing again. I don't want it making excess, so I've been setting it down the other direction. Now once it starts getting down to the bottom of the thing though, in order to keep the glue flowing, sometimes I just have to slap the lid on it and put it down. So it's going to sit inside there. I think so. It's a little tricky. I could glue this across the back too, which might help a little bit. You want it fairly lined up with the top. And I'm actually going to put a little line of glue on the inside here to help with making sure this doesn't just slide apart. Like so. And the next piece that we're going to do then is going to be the little arm rests. I'm going to do the arm rest. Yeah, I'll do the arm rest and the little front piece that goes in there. So with this little front piece, I'm going to put a little glue in here. And on the ends. Get in there. All right. Set it back just a little bit in there. I don't want it right up against the edge, because you want it to be like, you know, what you'd normally find in a bench, where it would have a little bit of room. So it's almost like lining it up with the opening at the back of here. There. Okay, like that. Think. And so the next piece we're going to do is going to be these little guys. So I am going to look here quick and see where that is going to sit. This way, and it's like, okay. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue on the end here, and then a dab of glue on that. So a little glue here. Come on, here we go. Glue there, and a little glue there. And I'm going to do them individually. Hold it for a second before I flip it on its side to look at my alignment. There. And the same on the other side. And I'm probably going to do a little bit of just do a couple pieces today, and I really am very, very tired. So I am going to lay down for a nap. All right. I just need to shift it a little bit. That needs pushed up just a tad. That happens sometimes when you're working on these, that you gotta give a little coaxing that's in there. Just, yeah, those kind of just stay there. So pretty good glue for holding. It does make a mess a bit, but it does a nice job of being able to go through pieces fairly quickly. So there's our little bench, or I should say chair. So I can have an elongated chair, like a little love seat kind of thing. So it's a good thing for, like, you know, one person and your dog or your chicken. In my household's case, it's usually a chicken that sits with the person. So that is our that's the little tiny bench. And now that's ready. So that's that. So I'll set that aside. That's our little our little chair. Next thing we're going to work on is going to be the little table. So it's this guy. So first I've got to look for this little piece, as you can see here. So I'm going to look for this in bag 2 and this in bag 1. Do I have a bag 1? I don't know. Do we have a bag 1? I think it's not a bag. Oh, it was a bag. I took it out of the bag. This is where the other piece comes in handy. When you're identifying your parts, I'm going to show you quick. So that says A9. So that's where I looked over here on, like, this template that we have of different parts. And you can see that A9 is actually on this larger piece. This piece here. And that piece is over in the other box. So it's going to be these pieces that we need for that. So I'll set that down. And you can watch that for a second. Now when you're going to remove these, you're going to want to make sure that you use a knife and cut them out so that way they don't strip. It doesn't take much, just a gentle pressure. From what I can see, I only need one of those for this one, so I'll set that aside. Because it'll tell me whether I need 1 or 2, and the total is going to be just 2 pieces. So, and it only shows 1 here, and from what I see over here, only 1 piece is actually shown over here for the assembly. So now I'm going to pull up bag 2 and pull out the triangle. That's bag 3. Bag 3 and bag 2. So that you need that. Now the next thing that I need, as it says here, is I need my brown wire. So I need, and those are bag number 4. So find bag number 4. I found bag number 4. This is bag number 4. It's got all kinds of goodies in it. And if you can see, my brown wire's here. So very carefully, I'm going to go into my bag. And hopefully it's folded in such a way that I can get it out easily without disturbing a bunch of other things or wrecking anything. Okay. When I put them in here like this, you have to be very, very careful to get them out. Alright, there we go. My brown wire. As you can see inside here, there's also some metal foil. There's another set of tweezers. There's like these mossy type things. I think it's like, I can't remember, maybe it's like flacking or something like that. There's different materials in here for the different seat cushions and stuff too. Different greenery, both green and pink. My other one had some brown ones of those as well. Little rope that's used in multiple different ways. It's actually raffia, twisted raffia. All right, so it says on the instructions here, if you can see it, so bag number 4 had our brown wire. I need 2 pieces that are going to be cut at 53 millimeters and 3 pieces, as you can see, cut at 30 millimeters. Now, for me to measure my millimeters, you probably saw it in like my introduction thing, I use this because this is my centimeter millimeter measuring. So each, when you go from here to here, that's actually 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter. That's why it says 40, 41. Being that I come from a background of machining and stuff, we used actually a combination of both. Inches and millimeters. So if you want to do conversions, you can, unless you like me and have little extra things laying about that have measurements on them. I'm just going to hang it off to the side here. This is really soft wire. So I want to make sure, one, I get it nice and straight for cutting. So that's what I'll do there. I have little nippers. These are jewelry. I use them for jewelry. So I'm going to measure the first 2 first. So I kind of line it up just real quick. And I do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and there's going to be 53. So I'm going to line it up with what's going to be 53. Double check before you cut again, before you cut it. This is going to be my, where I start at 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 3. Make sure you hold it good. Okay. And then I'm going to nip it. Oh, I think it was stuck. Line it up. And cut. You notice it doesn't make much noise because it is really soft wire. So I try to be careful with it. Alright, so let's straighten this out as much as I can. Do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And your 3. 10 it again. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 3. And then we're going to line up as close as I can and cut. So there's your 2 53s. And now I need to cut 3 of them at 30. So straighten my wire out again because it tends to go wibble wobble because it is, like I said, this is really, really soft wire. It forms really, really simple. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Nope, we're doing 30 with this one, right? Yeah, 3 of 30. 10, 20, 30. Line it up. My camera's not focusing. Yep. So that's 1. 10, 20, 30. Two. 3. And yes, I could pre-cut these, you know, and just kind of go with my cuts after I've done them. But to me, it's important to show step by step for each thing, not just that. So, all right, now as you can see here, we've got 5, 5, and then this elegant kind of turn, and then it makes this little loop here, making it come out to 23 once you get it shaped. And that's going to be your 3 legs. And B, you know, that's B. So that's our 3 legs. Now to do those, I have already taken and measured some of these. I want to show you kind of a trick here. So when I'm trying to figure out, you know, well, and it's hard to see, I'm sorry about that, but 5 is from like 42 to the center here. That's 5. And most of my tools, if I set them like this one I'm not sure because I haven't actually measured this one out. But if I put it right on the line and look, this is actually 6. It's 6 millimeters wide. Now, if I take, most of them are about 6. And this one, as you can see, is just a tad narrower. This one is actually 5. So this one I actually use for doing most of my bends because it is exactly 5 across it. About 5.5. So if I'm just shy, I should put it right where it needs to be. But I have to be very gentle. So what I'll do is I'll set it in there, like so, and watch. So I will just want to give it a little bend. And then I'll line up the next piece. And see how that bends down? And this is just wide enough to give it just a gentle pinch. So I'll bend it the other direction, just gently. And if it's not enough, that's why we look to see, that's why we've got it to compare it with. I can always take my finger and just kind of gently pinch it and give it a little more. Now it does have the little curvature at the bottom. And then that is done with a jeweler's, another jeweler's tool. Pretty easy to kind of straighten that out. Yeah, it's not to scale on here, but make sure you hold it like that. And those do curl all the way around. So it doesn't tell me how big the loop is though. And as you can see, this tapers, so I can kind of adjust it a little bit. So I'm going to kind of put it where I normally do for most of my bends, which you can kind of see the little notch here. That's about where I do most of them. So I'm going to curl it. The only other thing I have to go on is that it tells me that once it's curled, it actually measures 23. So I can kind of use that a little bit as my gauge. You can see this is a little straight, so I can take it, bend it just a hair. That way it gives it a curve. So, and then if I need to, I can also go, okay, it's supposed to be now 23. So if it's not quite there, I can add a little more bend to it. So it is 20, it's measuring 24 right now. So I give one of these, give it just a hair more bend to it. Then it will come out. Give that a little more bend. Give that a little more bend. And now it should come out to about 23. Measure there. Still not quite there, so it won't sit flat if you have them all different. A little bit more. There, 23. Now, the trick is always trying to make them match each other. Like I said, if you've done a lot of jewelry, it's a little easier to make each piece the same. I haven't done a lot of jewelry. My mom is actually the one who's done most of the jewelry making in the household. So not necessarily kind of my forte, so. But make sure you can see. I'm on my knees right now, so it's a little harder for me to see my camera. All right, so we're gonna bend it down just a bit. We're gonna line it up. There, and bend it up. You can always adjust it a little bit to make them match. All right, so I'm gonna hold them up to each other too. Kind of helps. They should kind of fit into each other if I've done it right, which is pretty close. Stand back up so I can see what I'm doing. All right. I want to make sure that I'm holding on this the right way. So now is where I get to do my little adjustments. Kind of set them on top of each other so I can see where I need to bend it a little more. Yeah, as you can see, it's not straight at the moment either, so nice and soft, very soft wire, like I said, so it's pretty pliable to move where I need to. Take my flat ones now. Sorry, I shook the camera there. It's hard for me to hold on to them and line them up so you can see. Pretty close. So, and then we go to the last one. And what I'm going to do with this one is kind of go, okay. There's a lot of different ways of doing things. There. I have an appointment coming up. So I don't have a lot of time before my appointment comes up, so I might have to set this aside for a little bit to work. There. This wire crushes real easy too, so that's something that I have to keep in mind when I'm working with it. So let's look at our little elbows we created. This should be here. Come on. Pieces don't need to be perfect, but one would be similar enough. And I can create a little dents all over in this one. It's a little hard to undo. All right, a little bit, not perfect. Oops, get back here. I have nails, but eh. Okay. There are 3 little legs. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a jeweler, so it's a little more challenging for me. No, pinch is shown. So for these ones, these 2 I actually will flatten. That's kind of cool because you get to see how that actually, how soft this wire is. So I use this for flattening because, as you can see, it doesn't have any curvature to it. Yeah, get back here. So put it in there, and I just squeeze. Ouch. I pinched my finger on the back side. So that way I don't lose my... Sometimes it helps to squeeze in between too, where the squeeze points are. That way it gives it a little more consistent. next thing, we've got our little triangle. And now we're going to glue this little triangle to that little triangle. Pretty much center it. That's what we're planning. I gotta watch my time. Because I got about a little under 20 minutes before I gotta make sure I get up there. Call back my client. And see if they can meet today or if we can work on scheduling a meet time. So yeah, I schedule appointments for calling people back to schedule actual appointments because a lot of times they're busy when I'm calling. So that's what I do. All right, slide these off for a second. That way we can turn the page. So we finished our chair and we're working on a little table. All right. So, what is the next step here? Let's see here. We are going to take our two little pieces and apparently we are going to wrap them around that to form them. One is actually going to get glued to it, but the other is going to be used a little bit lower on the piece and then glued there. So cool. All right, so that's interesting, isn't it? All right, so I want to look back at what it shows because it's completed as looks like that. So really that one little wire does stay wrapped around that base, and the other one goes down lower across the bottom. So yeah, okay. Just double checking it, just so I know. So once we've got this little guy, and because that wire actually holds the little legs in place, so we got our little legs. Yeah. Not sure if I'll have time to make the big wood, this guy or not, the big wood frame, at least right now. So I may do a couple little shorter lives to try and do those so that way I can get that completed. So next we are going to do is I'm going to form this around here. I choose to take a long side. You could choose either long side, really. You could choose either this hypotenuse or one of the two legs for forming, but that needs to stay there while you pull it down. Yeah, I moved this little block, sorry, because I didn't let it set quite long enough. But yeah, form it around there. You don't want this to come away. I'm going to hold it on there nice and tight with my fingertips. You want it to stay put. And hold it down over the other edge. Oh, does it even suggest to trim that or not? Or just glue it? Looks like it's just glue it. Okay. As you see, their overlap on this is they overlap, but on the actually on the end. But come here. I find a long edge overlap
usually works better, considering this one, the overlap ends pretty much at this corner. I'm going to do the same with the other one. So overlap here, hold it, bend it, just sit in there pretty tight, and then bring it around. So that way, see, it ends pretty much at that corner. Just gives it a nicer finish. All right, take it off, get back here. Press down just a hair because I want to make sure that they sit nice and firm with each other. And I'm going to glue that on both of them so they don't go anywhere. But it also gets glued onto that. So one of them gets glued onto that, and the other one's going to be my leg part. So this one is going to be at the base of here, where my legs are going to go on. Set it down for a second. So I'm just going to glue this one directly into place. It will also allow me to put my leggies on right away. Kind of messy. All right, put it down. Press in. Now, when we're doing these, I have to make sure I get this in here while I'm putting the legs on. Otherwise, I won't be able to put my legs in. So you look at the legs all curl out. So yes, here to put it into the little hole. There's little indents on each of the corners. One. Yes, and I want to make sure this is up here. Put each leg in place. This one's going to go in over here. Ooh, this is just tough because oh, I'm bending it. Dang it. All right. Oops. Yeah, that wasn't helpful. Because I need to be able to stick this in this little space. Yeah, those are the two tougher corners for that. Square it up. And then this one goes down here. There, it's in place. All right. I know it looks funny. All right, so then this little band here that goes on here actually goes down at the bottom. So it helps to actually square it up where the legs are supposed to go. So that goes down there. course, it's going to fight me about it because it's like, I don't want to go there. It's like, yep, you're going there. Just tells me I need to put a little more bend in my legs. To get them where they need to be. They got a little too much bend in certain spots. Light it back out to the end. Gotta watch my time. Okay, so we'll see. Oops, we'll go there. That leg is not where it belongs. It needs to be in the corner and it's not. Don't worry, I'll get better at doing these videos once I've been doing it for a little longer. It's only the first time I've done these. Alright, I am going to have to come back and work on this after a bit. I gotta get ready for my call, and I'll be back. We'll finish work on finishing up this little guy. I might get a chance to kind of play with them without having to figure out my camera as well as a little part, so I'll be alright. Give me a second. I can't hit my little buttons there. Oh, yes.